All right, so we are gonna hop into it. Before we do, just brief introductions. My name is ShaKeia Kegler. I'm a commercial real estate agent in South Florida, and I'm with One Market Real Estate Agency. So I focus on commercial properties. So people are in the chat now, but I focus on commercial properties. So far, I've worked with clients in the retail space, and I'm currently working on an industrial space right now. So super excited, and we have the lovely Tamika here with us today. Tamika, I'm not gonna give you an introduction. I'm gonna let you tell the people all the greatness. Okay.
Thank you so much. My name is Tamika Moses. I am the broker owner of Robinboro Realty. I am a commercial real estate broker, and I also do some single family properties, but mainly for investment purposes. I also am the current president-elect for NARAP South Florida, so I'm looking forward to next year. What's coming as the incoming president? We're having a great year for 2023, and I'm also involved with the Miami Association of Realtors on the commercial board as well. And yeah, I'm practicing. I'm going for my CCIM, and I'm a commercial real estate broker. And I'm working with several different types of clients. One is an industrial, one is two are schools. Another one, I just got a land listing.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just running. Yes.
And I saw that land listing, like huge. I'm looking for a land a property right now for someone, 20 acres. So I'm hoping to add that to my portfolio this by next month, actually.
Awesome.
So
awesome,
congratulations.
Awesome. Thank
and
you.
Also you mentioned the organizations that you're a part of. We are going to get deeper into that as well in terms of just overall commercial real estate. So I'm excited about that. But opening up the floor, first we want to just give the people an introduction of what is commercial real estate. Right? What is commercial real estate, and what are some of the different asset classes for commercial real estate?
Commercial real estate is where it's a property that is not your residential property. You are operating a business. You're not living in the property. It's not your homesteaded property. It is a business. It is a building, an asset that you are running a business out of. Even if it's an apartment building, an industrial warehouse, it could be an office building where you are not living in that property, but you per se, you are running a business out of that property.
Absolutely. So definitely that was one of the biggest things that piqued my interest when I decided to really start to practice real estate. Prior to this, I have a business where I teach, Govlier, where we teach small businesses and do business with government agencies. So I was already familiar with the side of doing business in general, and I enjoyed the business side of it. So that was part of the reason why I decided to start on the commercial side as opposed to starting with residential. What piqued your interest into getting into commercial real estate?
What piqued my interest is my background stems back from 2003. So I was mortgage loan officer for about several years. And then when the market crashed, I never left the business. I actually went and worked for Bank of America. Bank of America, I learned how to do short sales and everything. And I was actually doing some of the commercial REOs as well. So that piqued my interest. Fast forward to 2011, I actually got my real estate license. And from there in 2015, I graduated with my master's degree in real estate, in international real estate from FIU. So I got 3 of the 4 required courses for the CCIM. So that piqued my interest because now you're not just I'm not dealing with clients with their emotions. Now it's another level, it's another layer to real estate and commercial real estate. It piqued my interest because I saw for one, there is less than 3% of African Americans that are practicing real estate. There are less than 3% of African Americans who actually own commercial real estate. So that really piqued my interest. I see that commercial real estate really does influence neighborhoods. Absolutely. So I did a huge study on the Liberty City market. And someone called me from my class the other day and they said, Tamika, everything that you said in this report, several years prior, even to what Donald Trump even starting opportunity zones, he said, everything that you said came true. I said, I foresee that. I foresaw that. Because the thing about it is, you're seeing all of this, it's no more land to build on Miami Beach. There's nothing else to live.
No way.
You know, with the high tide and everything, the tides and everything coming up to the streets, You're like, so where do I supposed to live at? You
Exactly.
start moving inland.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start moving inland, it's like, wait a minute, hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if the rich are starting to move inland, so guess what? They're gonna want their Whole Foods market. They're gonna want their office buildings. They're gonna want their shopping classes
Mm-hmm.
and A and B class for shopping centers at that. So the only other neighborhoods you're looking at are the minority neighborhoods, because guess what?
Absolutely.
People don't realize that minority neighborhoods are so valuable because minority neighborhoods are near major highways and the trailways.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people, look at the city plan for the next 10 to 20 years. The city plan already tells you for the next 10 to 20 years what they're going to do. So in grad school, I learned how to look through the city plan. So we already knew about the Bright Line. We already knew what they were doing as far as like they were buying up property near I-95 and saying, listen, we will buy you out to make that to stretch the roadway. So I foresaw all those things coming. So it's taking place. But yeah, commercial real estate, it really did pique my interest, because this is how communities are built.
Absolutely.
Because if you're seeing the different types of businesses, like if you're seeing like instead of a Wendy's, a Winn-Dixie, you see a Publix. People don't
You already
realize
know.
Publix goes by the demographics. Publix does a feasibility study. So I actually met with a developer who builds public shopping plazas. He said, listen, this is how we do it. He said, this is how they do it. He said, back then in 2015, they were not looking at Overtown to build a Publix.
Of course.
Fast forward 6 years later, yeah, they are now, because guess what? Within the feasibility study, it shows the demographics as far as the income, the median price income. They've shown the median price of the homes, median price of the rentals. So guess what? Public prices can sustain the area. So there you go. So you have to look at all of these different things. I see you, Tiffany, and I tell people it's not a secret. You know, I give as much information as possible, because these are the things I learned. And I had to learn these things on my own. When I was doing my master's program, I think I was only one of 3 in the master's program at the time. Wow. So everyone else is in a different nationality. So us as minorities, as Blacks at that, they're working at 50%. We're working at 150%. So already. I always tell people that. So we have to continue to keep on getting knowledge. We can't do the shortcut. We have to get the knowledge. We have to make those connections. So yeah. So I told you.
You know what? I love that you brought that up. One of the biggest points that was one of the key things that I learned attending ICSC last year was going around meeting these anchor stores, meeting a lot of the smaller, retail businesses who are looking for spaces, and you get the sheet and you see what demographic they're looking for, how much the median income is, what education level. So they already have this stuff planned out. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, and people don't realize that.
And mention it.
They look at it. They look at
I love that you mentioned that. And another thing that you mentioned was the highways in Black neighborhoods, which really back in the day turned out they were doing it to be nasty, and now they want it back. So
you got to think
another
about
conversation.
It. Exactly. You got to think about it. Let's just say, for instance, 95 runs through Overtown, connects to Liberty City. Oh, that's a major highway. Exactly. So the hospitals are not too far away. So why not build what they call now, it's not affordable houses, workforce housing, whatever you want to call it, market rate apartments in that area? Because guess what? You less than 10 minutes away from Jackson Memorial Hospital. So guess what? They're catering to the doctors. They're catering to those people. They're like, well, you know what? We can build in those areas. That 7th Avenue, that runs all the way down to the highway. That 7th Avenue turns into 441. I tell people, look how the roads are. Look what the major roads are. Once you see what those major roads are, you know that's where development is going to be. The roads, and that's a huge difference.
That's a huge point. And so I wanna tap into that. I know we were gonna talk about other things, but tapping into that aspect of it and looking at the market. We do have a few questions just before I go into the market question, right? So we have one, and it says, what are some ways that commercial real estate correlates with residential real estate?
So let's say a Whole Foods want to come to the area. Whole Foods is not going to come to an area where there's low income properties. It is what it is. They have a demographic. So it correlates to say, okay, then, well, I'm going to go to a Pembroke Pines. I'm going to go to a Davie. I'm going to go to a Plantation, because guess what? Within their feasibility report, they already know this is a higher income, higher education level. They even go down all the way down to the type of cars that you drive. So they already know within this feasibility report, this is where we're going to go. So this is like, okay, so point blank, if you see a Winn-Dixie, everyone already knows in their brain they affiliate a Winn-Dixie with lower income areas.
Along with
Yes.
Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree. They look at those demographics. They look at a Bravo. Well, Bravo may go on the cusp of it, but it's not going to go to deep into Weston. It's not going to go deep into Davie. So so I always tell people, look at the type of businesses that are coming. So now with this type of market, what's going on, you're seeing so many shopping centers that were run down. Now they're being renovated. They're being renovated now, because guess what? They want to attract not only the great mom and pop shops, but the national credit tenants.
Of course.
And a national credit tenant, that would be like a McDonald's, a Wendy's,
Walgreens.
Exactly. Walgreens, your Chipotle. You know, these are national credit tenants. So if there are any realtors in the room on this call, national credit meaning that doing anything, they are going to pay the rent on the first.
Hey.
So during the pandemic, a lot of people they was happy. Those national credit tenants, they were paying their rent. Just like they had an article about Saks. They stopped paying over their bill.
They did stop paying their rent. I was just about to say.
But guess what? They still over there. They made their rent back up because they knew at the end of the day they are going to pay their rent. They just went down to negotiate things back and forth, but guess what? They pay their rent. They're still over there. They're still over there at Bell Harbor.
And those leases are a lot longer too.
Yes.
They
want long-term
leases. Up to 10 years, sometimes even longer than that.
Yes.
So keep that in mind too. That's why you want the national,
exactly.
the national ones. However, you know, we do still want to make sure we are providing opportunities for the small businesses. So we'll see a lot of opportunities that, you know, may arise through the renovation of that space. I will say it won't be a lot of them, but there will be some, just because based off the demographic of people who are moving into that area. You'll start seeing the Starbucks. You'll start seeing all of those coffee shops, the barista shops. So
and I do like to help small businesses, especially those who don't have chain stores or anything like that. And I like to help them grow because it is highly competitive. So I always try to make sure that my tenants they have the finances. A lot of people don't think about that when you're presenting. I'm like, just like you present an offer for a residential property, now it's even tougher for a commercial property, because landlords are now really strict because the pandemic has taught them, like, listen, this person don't pay their rent. Now we gotta gobble this up. So what are we supposed to do? So they're looking at all of that. So, but I still like to help my small businesses that get started, because I always say once small will become huge. So I'm passionate about that. It's helping small businesses, helping e-commerce businesses, especially if they're just starting out, but they have a really, really great footprint on the social media and on the internet, and they're making their sales. So I like to see those businesses grow.
Yeah, because definitely I've seen a few people post about expanding their online business to now they need warehouse space.
Yeah.
I'm like, every business, your aspiration should be to grow, you know, so being able to have that goal and then build it out and work towards that, huge. The next question is, we actually answered this one, or you actually answered this one, was more of how does commercial real estate influence residential neighborhoods? So that goes back to that conversation of the stores that you begin to see pop up in those areas.
Yeah, the stores, the businesses, you start looking around and like, wait a minute, hold up. So this is like kind of really influencing it a lot. Like you're looking, I look at even Sistrunk. You look at Sistrunk area now. Sistrunk is an historically Black community, but now look what's happening. Yep. It's being gentrified. You're seeing the higher end apartments that are being built in the area. You're starting to see the new the new Flagler Village. You're starting to see all
Flagler.
these new bars and everything, but those prices and everything, you're pricing the neighborhood out. So, but that's what's happening. So again, I'm going to go back to saying is, I want to see more of us, more, especially blacks in the commercial real estate realm. I always tell people, I say, your commissions, you got to reinvest in. I said, so I always have a lot of commercial brokers, a lot of realtors who want to go into commercial real estate as a commercial broker. And I'm like, you know what, those checks can be 6-figure checks. Reinvest it. Reinvest it, buy a piece of your community. We have to really be out here buying the block. So
that's it.
So a major thing, we're buying a block on the single family homes. I love it, but really we need to be buying a block back on commercial real estate, because commercial real estate is really dictating a lot of these neighborhoods.
And that influence on that market aspect of it as well.
Yes, it does.
That's a perfect segue into the market. And let's talk a little bit about the current South Florida market, and just market in general as it relates to commercial real estate.
Well, the market in general right now, so I'm going to touch on the commercial real estate market, because about 2 weeks ago, we just had the CCIM, we just presented the commercial real estate outlook for 2023. There is going to be a little bit of a slowdown, but we don't think it's going to be a huge slowdown. There are still REITs that are out here buying. So if a property is in distress, so a lot of commercial buyers, they brought with a bridge loan or something, so they have to refinance right now. So they probably got it at 0%, 2%, so then have to refinance right now. So the interest rates are pretty high. So far as like some multifamilies, you may see a little bit in distress, because you have to sustain, because you have to do your numbers as far as like calculating how much to rent, or how much can I go up on the risk, because you got to be able to sustain the building. You got to be able to sustain that mortgage payment.
Absolutely.
So it may be a little slowdown, I would say, on a units, probably under 100 units. I don't see the major properties per se going into a huge, like, I would say, distress, because we have so many people that's moving down to South Florida, and people are actually avoiding the rent. There are some people that are being priced out of the market, so they have to go and rent. So they're paying this high rent. And I always say, people always asking me, Tamika, when the foreclosures will come. If you get foreclosed on, you cannot go stay in the street. You still have to rent somewhere. So rent is still going to be high. As far as an industrial space, so you and I, we do the same. So industrial space, I do help a lot of e-commerce businesses, because they're now getting priced up because the prices are extremely high for warehouse space. So right now, that is going to be the big thing right now with warehouse space, and they're actually developing a lot of warehouse space. So we are lacking warehouse space in the South Florida area. We're lacking it right now. So right now, I think that this is going to be a segue of really a lot of owners, if they can buy warehouse space, buy you a warehouse, because I'm like, the prices will continue to increase. I think that also that the retail markets, the retail is going to continue to keep on pumping, even though it's a lot of things that are online. People still like to go to stores and touch it and feel it. I'm still not down with the thing of having somebody deliver me. I want to feel my grocery. I like to look at my meat, my fruit, and everything. I want to pick it out. So that's still going to be the next thing. It's not going to just pop away and just go away. So the retail market, I still think it's going to be still doing good, because even during the pandemic, we had a lot of businesses that really opened during the pandemic, and they're still booming right now. A lot of small stores. My client, she just opened up her franchise store. She left from being an educator for 20 years from Miami-Dade County, and now she just opened up her own franchise of an A&R workshop. So I'm very happy and excited for her. Also, land is very scarce right now. It's very, very scarce. We're basically buying golf. They're out here buying golf courses to be developed. Okay. So it's another asset class that is affecting this market, because I'm like, people are like, well, I'm like, listen, sweetie, they just went over the boundary line in Miami-Dade County to build. So basically, they built it in the Everglades, okay? They ready to build warehouse space in the Everglades. But another top market to go back to industrial is going to be North Miami. So I tell people to look out for North Miami because a lot of things that's going on in the North Miami area. I just read an article today. 18 different properties in Little Haiti went into foreclosure. A developer just bought them. So guess what? You have an outcry of all of these small businesses because they're like, wait a minute, they already know gentrification is happening, and it's steadily happening. Yeah. If people don't realize it, you have to look at what's, I always tell people, read. I give so many resources of the things I read every single day. I read Biz Now. I read the South Florida Business Journal. I read the Miami Herald. I read the Commercial Observer. I read CoStar. I read Moody's. I read 5 to 10. I read the Wall Street Journal. I read the Real Deal. I read 5 to 10 newspapers and magazines on a daily basis. I tell people because you want to know what's going on in the market. And another thing I wrote down is going to be another segment that's going to be really good is medical office spaces. People don't realize that. We are a baby boomer state. So 70 million people are going to be aging within the next 5 years. You're going to need a medical office to go to. That's another segment of commercial real estate, because you got to think, where does everyone come to retire at? They come to retire in Florida. Of course. They love Florida. So doctors and everybody that goes to the hospital, they have, my doctor's office, my doctor's office, I'm going to my doctor's office. That is another asset classes. There are so many different things that you can actually invest in. The market is still booming. I have several clients right now I'm working with on several different types of asset classes, and I can't find it. I have a client right now. We're looking for green space in near downtown Miami in Brickell. I'm like, wait, what?
Wow.
So I'm trying my best. I'm like, it's gonna be a magic trick I'm gonna have to pull out.
Seriously. Yeah. And they really need to reconsider that. It's a little bit, you know.
Yes. And I post a lot of these articles and everything on my social media, and it's for informational purposes. Because especially if I have other real estate agents and brokers who are following me, I want us all to be informed of what's going on in this market. This market is trucking along. Listen, they are bold enough to put a $1 billion piece of land, which was the former Miami Herald website, on the market. They listed for $1 billion. So y'all already know what time it is. So y'all that bold. We that bold in Miami to say, you know what, I'm gonna list this property, we're gonna list it for $1 billion. And guess what? They already got calls. So they're doing feasibility reports. Even if it closes close to $1 billion, I don't care if it closes at 500 million, 600 million, 700 million. That changes.
The whole game of
commercial real estate. It changes it.
Because
now land. We sold land in Miami for how much?
At that rate.
At that price. So I just tell people, and I go to a lot of different events. And I always tell people, be intentional. I go to every event and I always pass out my business card. I always find out what's, because you gotta keep your ear to the street. You gotta know what's going on in this market, especially Miami. Miami is moving so fast, and there's so many things that are going on in this market. You definitely need to know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just to start moving into like a next topic, you talked a little bit about heading to events, going to market, and now this is more for like our realtors or real estate agents, brokers on the call. But you talked a lot about going to events, and that's one thing that I feel like definitely propelled me last year when it came down to attending events. Let's talk about some of the organizations that you were a part of, so that way we'll have an idea of where we can get involved.
Okay, so I'm part of the CCIM Miami chapter. So that we just had our commercial real estate outlook. So I always tell people, go to ccimmiami.com. Go on there. You can see the list of events, what's going on. Register. If it's a luncheon or something, you have to listen. This is a relationship business. You got to build relationships. I already know this. You got to build relationships. Another thing is, I go to my chamber meetings. I always tell people, where do you live at? They said, I live in Sunrise. Go to the City of Sunrise chamber meeting. And they're like, wait, what? Go to a breakfast meeting. They're
Yep.
like, that's too early in the morning. Listen,
Best
you got
time.
to be about your business.
Right. Right.
Every time it's too early in the morning, when they say early bird catches the hey, listen, your early bird catches the worm, you gotta catch that worm. You'll be surprised how many people I've met, how many people I'm doing business with, just because I went to a chamber meeting, just because I passed out my business card. Because guess what? I'm not in a room full of 100 different other agents and I'm competing. It's business owners who are actually looking. They're like, hey,
Yeah, looking for
I do need your
spaces.
card. Yeah, I do need your card. I also go to the Urban Land Institute. So that is for developers. That's for if you want to become a developer. A lot of developers are part of that. So I go to those meetings because I always go to I always probably come across a piece of land or something that can be developed. You can partner with a developer now, y'all. That's gonna be for another topic.
Ooh, listen. Don't worry, we're gonna have her back. We're gonna have her back.
Yeah, I better stop. We gotta start partnering with these developers and say, hey, you gotta get yourselves in the deal. And another thing I go to is I just go to a lot of my chamber meetings. Of course, with the Miami Association of Realtors, I go to those events as well. Especially since I sit on the board, we're going to be having more of our CCIM Ward Center classes. Okay. So people want to get into commercial real estate. So I always tell people, take the class. I always tell people like this: stop being so scared to be getting more and more education. That's how you stay on top of your craft. That's stay on top of your craft. You do not want to be behind. Yes. It's okay. Don't be saying, don't let nobody tell you, oh no, you don't need that. Just fine. No, no. It was for somebody. Listen, I always learn from people who know more than me. I'm like, listen, I'm going to your class because you know more than me.
And or that's the goal.
Yeah, that is the true goal right there. So I always tell people, take classes or whatever. But yeah, the chamber meetings, even City of Miami, even CRE Miami, Commercial Real Estate Women.
Commercial Real Estate.
They have CRE. You can look that up. You can look that up. ICSC, you just talked about that with the retail. If you want to do retail real estate, there are so many avenues. And I tell people, I utilize social media a lot, and I get a lot of clientele. I make a lot of connections. And another thing people don't realize, LinkedIn. If your LinkedIn is not cleaned up, please clean up your LinkedIn, because you will be surprised who is following you on LinkedIn or who will want to actually connect with you for you to do business to do business with. People are getting deals off of LinkedIn. I got a client off of LinkedIn. I actually have I'm on a non-commercial committee. The chairperson over that committee, T. Dallas Smith, he is one of the top Black brokers in all of the United States. He owns the largest tenant representation commercial real estate brokerage out of Atlanta. He got a $500 million deal off of LinkedIn. Him and his company, they represented at Microsoft. Okay? They got this deal during the pandemic. You got to work it. Let people know what you do. Do not be. I always tell people, don't be the secret agent.
Please don't.
Don't be the secret agent.
Don't be scared to talk about your business. Because one thing we know is ain't nobody else gonna talk about it like you gonna talk about
it. Listen. You be sitting there and being quiet. No. Listen, I'm a naturally shy person. When it comes to my business, I got to talk.
Right.
You got to talk, okay? I don't play that. That's my business. Judy, his name is T. Dallas Smith. So you can look it up, T. Dallas Smith. And he has been in this industry for so many years. He's been in the industry well over 30 plus years. So, I mean, it's so many different people who I look up to. And of course, I go to my NAREB events. Our incoming president for NAREB, she is actually a CCIM certified commercial investment member. Her name is Courtney Rose Johnson. So she is coming in as our president, our national president for NAREB. It's so many different resources out here. And I stay up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes researching and looking up different events and where I need to be at. I'm always intentional on where I need to be at, and I go, if it's something that interests me, I'm definitely going to be there. If I know it's going to help me with my business, I'm going to be there. Who do I need to shake hands with? You know, people, we can't go to these events just for a photo op. Who did I connect with? Who did I connect with? Who did I do? What we doing? So we gotta be mindful of all of those different things when we go to these events. So yeah, I would love to, keep on telling you all so much about commercial real estate, about real estate in general. I love the industry. And I tell people, I say, you can't go in there with just about making a dollar. I always tell people, don't be going there just okay, I'm here to make some money. No, you are here to add value. You are here to be a resource. So I always tell people to be a resource, because everything else is going to follow along. So when I go out and get my clientele, I mean, when I'm talking to people, I just talk about what I do. If they ask a question about the industry and I'm able to relate that information to them, they're like, wait a minute, now you're adding value. You are a resource. So now I want to work with you.
That's a huge point right there. Being a resource first.
Yes, be a resource.
Because the opportunity is going to come. They're going to flow regardless. That's just how it works.
It's going to come. This is it. Oh, we all know this is it overnight, but I tell people all the time, read. They're like, Tamika, read. How did you know that? I read it. How did you send it to me? Listen, I've given so many different free. I said, if I charge you, you'll go ahead and read it. I said, but I'm not. I'm like, so I said, if I charge you $100 to get this information, I'm telling you for free, you'll go ahead and read it. Then I said, we got to get out of that mindset. I said, I learned that. I'm like, this is something that is brain science. I tell people I read a lot. I want to know what's going on in this market. I want to know who the power players are. So let me see how I connect with these people. Who is it that I need to connect with? And that's how we have to look at this business, because this business is really, truly a relationship.
Yeah. That's true. Yes. That's huge. And staying involved, being educated and building relationships.
Yes. And you want to say, and you definitely want to stay educated. You want to know what's going on in the market, because you want to be able to service your clients. Absolutely. And see, you always know, I know for a fact, you stay involved. You stay well up abreast of what's going on in the market. Listen, you even know about government contracting. This is what you need to do in order to leverage for your business. So these are the things that you want to be able to be a resource. I tell people, I say, you're a resource, you'll get paid all day long.
All day. Listen, I think last week, I walked into like a meeting to just pitch an idea of like this potential government lease. And the guy was so excited about it. We did end up finding out that it wasn't going to work out for his space, but he was trying to bring me on board and all type of stuff. I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna just stick with my broker. I'm gonna stick with my broker, but I'll definitely reach out. And literally to the point where he said, if you find any opportunities, bring it back to me and I will buy the building and we can lease it to the agency. I'm like, whew, I can't wait to have that kind of money, but I'll keep you in mind for that. So yeah, like definitely being a resource and leveraging every aspect of what you have. Yes. I think often we get caught up in trying to be everything to everybody, and that's not what our mission is and what our purpose is. Leverage the tools that you have at your disposal. Leverage the knowledge that you have, but also be okay with not knowing stuff. Like be okay with saying, you know what, I'm gonna get back to you. I saw something about that, but let me get back to you to be sure. Or being okay with it. I think that's one part of like getting into this space that kind of I was shocked by initially. And I think I kind of dealt with that as well. So I know getting into it early on, just be okay with those things.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I tell you, I don't know everything, but guess what? I'm gonna find out. Ooh. If I don't know the answer, I know who to I know who to call. I'm gonna find out. I'm being a service and I'm being a resource for my clients. So I'm definitely gonna find out. Now I don't look at my clients. I always tell people I don't look at my clients as a transaction. They become family.
We locked in.
We locked in, and listen. I've gotten dinners. Let's go out of town. Let's go here. Come on, let's go. All right, then let's go. Yeah. What are you doing? Let's go to lunch. Come on. Okay, then not a problem, because you're establishing a relationship. You know, it's so much more. I always tell people it's so much more than just the dollar. Everybody thinks it's just the dollar. And stop thinking about everything as just the dollar. That's going to come. Build that relationship. And that's a key thing that I did learn from my, I actually had a commercial real estate coach last year.
Oh, yeah.
Made a lot of money for him. But that's one thing he said.
A lot of money for him.
But guess what? He had a proven fact. When I went to his coaching, we went to our big coaching meeting in November, one of his people sold $1.5 billion worth of real estate last year. So it's proven. And listen,
the money was worth it.
Listen, it was worth it. And then also, when you are in a room full of 500 people and there's only three people who look like you, you're like, oh my God, hey, how you doing? You know, and they're giving you everything for the nitty gritty. It's no secret. It's no secret to this business. It's about persistence and hustle and hard work. That's exactly what it is. And I also want to say another tool, a couple of tools I use is IMAP and RPR commercial. And you get those through your board. I utilize every service that my Miami Association of Realtors they give me, and that's how I gain a lot of my business as well. Okay. So I'm an RPR commercial.
Got it. Okay, so I added those two in there. I'm at the RPR commercial. Let's see. What did anyone have any more questions? Because I will definitely continue to ask questions that I already kind of had lined out as well. So we didn't talk about the market. We can also hit back on those different asset classes as well in terms of, you know, ways to invest in some of those different asset classes and properties. So we already talked about the industrial space and how that space can be used as warehouse space, but also considering like some flex properties as well.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I have a couple of clients that use, you know, they have their warehouse and they have their office. So I mean, and that's a new trend too, because the office, I mean, people want to be a little bit more freer. So with the flex space, they're like, hey, it's different things. I've seen some concepts with flex spaces that people have made actual playrooms, so like a little gaming room. Then they have the office space, and they made it more comfortable. So definitely, that's a huge thing right now. It's flex space. A lot more people are finding a lot more flexibility when it comes to looking for office space.
And that's one of the spaces I'm looking for right now, a flex space in Boca. If anybody is, no,
Have you found anything? I know it's
two. I have two options right now, and a possible that's in Delray. So I have two in Boca, one in Delray. So we'll go and check them out next week. But if you know of any of them, I will definitely reach out to you after this call, because I do need flex space for this one.
Not a problem.
Some other spaces, hospitality. We talked about multifamily properties, but just overall, like apartments. And just let's talk about that.
Ooh, the hospitality market. Woo-hoo.
Hotels.
Let me tell you something. Listen. These developers playing the game, boy. So now they're building developments that you can do Airbnb out of. So now you get Airbnb the property as soon as you get it. Okay, go ahead. I'm like, you know what? Now y'all trying to keep the little people to the side. Now they're building luxury condos that
for Airbnb street.
Yes. Yeah, you can.
Because they've seen how well it's worked for people advertising, lease this property, and then I'm like, Airbnb it out. I'm like, so now they caught on to the game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so now they're building a lot of luxury properties. I believe the development 11 is about 98% sold out, and that is a development, and it's a cool. And any of my residential agents, if you ever want to go down there, it's really cool because they actually take you through the metaverse to actually look at the property, and it's amazing how they do it, the showcase and everything. They spent like $1 million doing it. It was ridiculous amount of money, to do the metaverse and everything. But it's something that is amazing, and what they're going to have, the amenities and everything is like a real condo. But I'm like, oh, you can rent it out. The next day you get it. I'm like, wait, what? You have a lot of the hospitality industry now, even the hotels like Marriott, the big chain hotels, they're building places now that's a little bit more luxurious than an extended stay. So you have that coming on the market. I mean, the hospitality market, listen, I go to so many different events, and when they talk about down markets in every other major city, when it comes to Miami, they skip over Miami. They say, okay, they're like, okay, then Miami's on another level next. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, you're not, no. Because everything that we're putting out there is being filled up. So it's so many different things. So, but the hospitality industry is very huge right now. Of course, it took a hit during COVID, but now, you know,
People need places to stay. They have to find creative ways to make it work. So
listen, I always tell people, who wouldn't want to be in Miami during Christmas on the beach when it's 80 degrees? Yeah, we had 2 days of cold, which was cold to us because other people, they're like, oh, this is summertime, this is springtime for us, this is beautiful out here.
mm-hmm.
So,
and I'll say I recently have been seeing a lot more storage spaces too. So they've been popping up on every single corner around here.
yes, storage is huge right now. Storage is huge. I think it's still going to be huge because you got to look at how many people are averaging that moving here on a daily basis. You do need storage places. You still need storage spaces, regardless of the fact whether it's business, residential, personal purposes. You still need storage spaces, and people don't know storage spaces are the lowest maintenance in real estate. It is. You only need one or two people to actually run the place. I'm like, they don't clean out the unit. You don't clean out the unit.
Yeah, that's it.
Sweeping and cleaning up, whatever. I said, but it's one of the easiest asset classes to actually manage.
Absolutely.
And they're trading for they just traded one not too far away from me. It used to be a mom and pop, and they sold it for like $80 million. They owned it for like 10 years.
My gosh. What have I been doing with my life? I just need to know.
And it was owned by a husband and wife, and it was only two people that ran the storage, and it was like 500 units in there. Yeah.
It operates on its own. All you need is the systems to operate.
Exactly.
And a few people to answer the phone.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. Guaranteed monthly payments, no matter. Yeah. So that's
what you're not gonna want to lose yourself. So guess what? You're gonna make that payment. You don't want to lose your item, so you're gonna make that payment. Or if not, they're gonna auction. They still gonna make the money.
That too. That's another way they make the money. Auctioning stuff out.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
Like, it's such a we'll get back to that one. The other one I would say is we talked about the hospitality and residential. Oh, retail. We hit on retail a little bit, and we talked about how retail businesses, they still remained operational during COVID, especially here in Florida, because baby, we never shut down. We never shut down. But I will say, to add on to like the food, like restaurants and things like that, we have become, because we've been inside so long, we have become more accustomed to like experience-based like events or dining or things like that. So realizing that we have a lot more what are those, escape rooms or date night, karaoke bars, things like that. The smash spots, I've seen a lot of those.
I've seen a lot of those. I've seen a lot of those small businesses, those types that popped up, and they're becoming very successful, and people love that type of stuff. You want an experience when you go out to go eat. And I tell people, I said, now, after this live, I'm going to go and run and go get me something to eat. And where I'm going to go to eat, it's going to be jam-packed. And you like, it's a Monday. And I tell people do not cook no more. They don't cook.
And so my client just ended up getting opening a bridal shop in Pembroke.
Okay.
But her shop is right next to one of the Chow Time buffets.
Oh, yeah.
They told me about how much traffic comes through that buffet, and my mouth just dropped. Every time I would look outside, like I just popped up to go visit them the other day, but every time I would look outside, you see people just walking. Walking. It's 3 p.m.
Yeah. That's just like Pembroke Gardens. That's just like even the new plaza on Pines where Hiccups and all of that stuff is jam packed. There's a lot of foot traffic. So, and I tell people, I said, it's not happy hour. I'm like, people just don't cook no more. People
don't
want to go out and cook.
They working. They're so busy working, trying to pay bills.
Exactly.
For real.
Like me. I'm like, I think last month when I was throwing away food, I was throwing away meat in my freezer from March. Because I traveled every single month. And I didn't have a chance to cook because it's like, you come home, you listen, what I want to order, what I'm ordering to eat. And so that happens. So I've seen restaurants, so if they have a great concept, they're definitely going to be staying in business.
And Judy just mentioned social competitive retail. I love that. Mm-hmm. Definitely social competitive retail. So I was excited when I first got started, and that was the first place that I started was a retail.
Mm-hmm.
But office spaces. You talked about medical office spaces as well. I'm trying to think of what other businesses are utilizing office spaces as well, because I've seen a lot of co-working spaces pop up recently.
Yeah,
Um,
you're gonna see
mhm,
you're gonna start seeing a lot more co-working spaces. You're gonna start eventually seeing more people go back into the office, even if it's for a certain amount of days and everything. I think
mhm.
the federal government and a couple other places are like, listen, they trying to tell Joe we need to mandate, we need to get people back in the office
We need.
because there are like, look, I had an empty building sitting here, I had to go back to the office now. But those offices, I've been noticing a lot of these office buildings, and especially down here in South Florida, if they're partially vacant or are vacant, they're being bought and they're being torn down to build A-class properties because of all these high-end financial firms that are moving here to the South Florida
Of
market.
course, from
Or
California
California and
and
New York,
York.
Chicago. Yeah, so you have those that are moving down here, so that, or you're seeing the office and some in hospitality, like the older hotels, they're actually being adaptive reuse, and they're being made into multifamilies because we have a housing crisis. We have a detrimental housing crisis. It's like the jobs are here, but now we have a housing crisis to whereas the middle class is being wiped out. So where do we put affordable housing, or where do we put a housing at for them?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, so every inch, I would say every inch of Miami and South Florida basically is getting
Yeah.
eaten up.
Yeah.
It's being
And
utilized.
I'm from the Tampa Bay area. From St. Pete, so I've definitely been there, and literally based off of the traffic alone, you can tell how many people have migrated to that area.
Oh yeah.
And now it's being called like a tech hub. So you also, in addition to having the investment firms come down to Miami, they're going to Tampa. So yeah, Florida is becoming one of those places. I may have to move because it's getting packed out here.
Listen, this is, but one thing I can honestly say, this has been in the plans for many years, and it's just coming to fruition. This has been in the plans for many years. I mean, it didn't come to fruition because when the market crashed in 2008. And, I always get these, people always ask me, Tamika, do you think the market's going to crash? I think it's going to go back to pre-COVID of 2019, where it was still a steady market. People are still buying property every single day. I mean, I'm still getting phone calls. The one that hasn't said they dried up. I'm like, because I see people getting listings. People are selling. People are buying. So that's always going to be the thing here in South Florida. But I don't see it like, okay, it's going to just, even if it drops to what people want it to be, there are some hedge funds that have billions of dollars, and they already own up to 40% of single family homes nationwide, and they're trying to get up to 60% to be Wall Street, who are investing into single family in the single family asset class. Let me tell y'all something. We won't even see half these foreclosures, what everybody is praying for.
Exactly. And that's the big thing, because they're going to sell them in bulk to
They'll
one
sell
of
them in
these
bulk.
investment firms.
They're going to sell in bulk. You have some hedge funds. They may have some non-performing notes, but guess what they're going to do? They're going to rehab those properties before they even put them back on the market.
Of course.
So they're not going to just say, okay,
and they're going to sell them. They're going to rent them out.
Yeah.
Because that's what they realized, especially during COVID. If it taught anybody anything, that real estate is one of the most effective asset classes when it comes to investing. And also it's safe. As much as we talk about how, the housing market crash, it don't crash that often. Just so y'all know.
That was a rarity back then. And I think a lot of firms are actually falling behind the imitation homes model that they started back in 2010, because they buy and they hold for a certain amount of time, then they start selling and they go right back again and buying and holding. Listen, when you have a bank like JP Morgan and saying we're gonna partner up with this, we're gonna buy $1 billion worth of properties, like the bank sitting down, the bank wanna so,
and it's detrimental to people who want to purchase homes and things like that. But I think that shouldn't discourage you from going out and buying something now, so that way you can hold it for later on. If I didn't learn anything else over these last 5 years, it was more of how beneficial it was buying my house back when
Mhm.
it really didn't make sense for me to buy a house. I could have rented something because I was just getting out of the military, but I so persistent on I gotta buy a house, and I'm so happy that I did because
See, awesome,
mhm.
awesome.
So just keeping that in mind. So just don't let it discourage you for right now. You can always, if I'm getting into buying houses, I don't even work in that space, but you can always refinance when the rates and stuff get better.
I
So
was
just
telling you
keeping that.
refinance, but yeah, but the commercial real estate market is still kind of tight here. It really is for different assets because I mean, sometimes a lot of people are the smaller businesses are actually are getting priced out. Price per square footage have gone up like over 6 to 10% over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting more and more. It's getting more and more expensive. So I always tell people we have to think of other avenues. We have to have other options. Is it better for you to rent, or is it better for you actually to buy a space? Because
Good one.
now it is an investment.
That's a good one. And
Yeah.
I will have somebody coming on the show to talk about the SBA loan as a
Awesome.
small business, how to leverage
Yes.
it to
Yes.
buy commercial real estate.
Yes. And
And that'll actually be next week. I'll
okay.
put the date
Awesome.
out.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think that we need to get the word out there about the SBA and actually utilize them, leverage it
Mm-hmm.
off. They're giving away money. Like, listen, we need to listen. A certain percentage of minorities and women, we have this set aside, so we have to utilize those funds in order to get you to a commercial place.
So yeah, I definitely will be putting out some more information about that. But how are you feeling,
I'm
Tamika?
feeling great. I mean, I wonder if anyone else has any questions. I mean, like I always say before, when I start talking real estate, I know I can tend to go over the place, but I'm going to give you some gems. You're going to get some gems from me. I'm
Right.
going to give you something, some type of information whatsoever. Even if it's another realtor or not, I'm going to give you the information. You know, people always say, oh, don't give away. I'm like, why?
Why?
Why not?
Listen,
Why
I
not?
think that's that scarcity mindset. Like we
Exactly. I'm
operate in
like,
abundance over here. Whatever's gonna come to me is gonna come to me.
and
I ain't worried about nobody else taking nothing that I got because it wasn't gonna happen to begin with. So
exactly.
I don't mind giving you information. I talked about this like on the government contracting side. I'm like, I don't mind telling y'all because what is gonna do to me?
Exactly. It's not
Nothing.
going to do nothing. I was telling people, I said, you know how many, it's an abundance of properties and everything. I said, I ain't anybody in South Florida. I said, listen, you got the whole entire state. You can buy outside the state.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things. Listen,
It's
it's
too
probably
much
all
money out here.
it's a lot of money out here.
Too
Somebody
much
asked,
money.
what do y'all think of hard money lenders? I think hard money lenders, they can be utilized they can be utilized as well. I don't turn my nose up to a hard money lender because guess what? If you are able to make that note payment to them and before you're able to refinance it, I think you should go ahead and utilize it. If the numbers make sense to you, I think you can utilize a hard money lender. Hard money lenders are also there are some commercial hard money lenders out there as well. So I don't see anything wrong with that because you can always refinance into another type of loan, into a regular loan. It's getting you into the property, and if you're able to handle those payments, you're like, okay, then let me utilize this. And hard money is only for short term anyway.
That's what I was going to say. It's for short term. And I will also add that if before going into this space, like you already start to line up, potential client, potential tenants and things like that, it makes it easier for you to be able to make these payments, right? And then like Tamika said, once you already have a tenant in that space, you can now go to someone else to get investment based off of the current value of that property. Because that's how commercial real estate is. It's based off of how much income you're bringing into that property. So consider that like you can get it just to get into that space and then, pay it and then move on. So,
Exactly. I always say pay it now, do what you got to do. Listen, we got to think of creative. Commercial real estate allows you to have creative financing.
Mm-hmm.
You can have
and it makes it easier. Because even what I think the DCSR loan, considering like those type of loans as well. So those are based off of how much revenue you're going to be bringing into the property.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with your tax returns. They don't have nothing to do with your credit score. None of that.
They have asset-based type of loans. So it's all different types of loans out there. So I can't wait till the person with the SBA, and then also I probably can get another lender on here as well to talk about the different asset-based
Yes.
financing out there.
Okay, that'll be good. We can definitely do that. I'm excited. Look at this. 2023, getting off to a good old start.
Yes, it is. It's getting off to a great start. It's getting off to a great start. And I just want to see more minorities in this space. You know, I was asked to put together a panel of black commercial building owners.
Oh wow.
I couldn't come up with two. And I can only come up with two, and I need two more. And I'm like,
do they have to be? Where do they have to be? In Miami?
They could be in Miami or Fort Lauderdale because it's a panel, a local panel that I'm doing.
Okay, I think I got one for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not really prevalent in our community really to buy commercial real estate. You know, at this time we're pushing the notion of buy the house. Buy the house. But we need to be really mindful in pushing into purchasing commercial real estate. I tell people, I say, you can actually own one of them plazas, a huge plazas, even if you get a group together. Ooh, and you can probably have and get a national credit tenant to come into your plaza and make sure your rent is paid. So we definitely need to be pushing that, because guess what? We want to be able to control our area. We want to be able to control our area. So we push home ownership hard enough. Everyone knows about it. Let's push purchasing commercial real estate. Purchase commercial real estate. And beyond multifamilies, let's look at some of these shopping plazas. Let's look at some of these office buildings. We could do our own co-working spaces as well. Yeah. Let's look at that. Let's looking at some of these industrial spaces. Why we can't own mechanic shops? Why we can't own some of these places where they're leasing back from us? There are so many different avenues. We could even own more medical offices. There are some people just own medical buildings. They just lease everything out. That's it.
Goodness. Yeah, I think that's we have another one from Judy. What did it say? I had to find my client a black-owned
landlord in downtown Boston, couldn't find any, so we focus on a group that is a color and women-owned, very scarce. It is. It's very scarce.
Judy.
Yeah, it's very. And also for my realtors, I also want to give one more thing. The CCIM has a diversity program. So if you are interested in becoming a CCIM certified investment member, they actually have a scholarship that goes up to $5,000.
Okay. Goodness. Yeah, Judy said commercial real estate ownership amongst African Americans is under 3% nationally.
Yeah.
So that's my goal this year. I definitely want to get a shopping center this year or industrial space this year. So that's on the plan. So you'll add me to the panel next year. Add me to the panel next year. Oh, I've been sending this to this girl.
So I'm going to write this up to the CCIM diversity program.
Okay. Yeah, definitely that one. Yeah, that was definitely a mind-blowing point. Oh, Judy said, me too. Oh, yeah, girl, don't tempt me with a good time. Don't tempt me doing a partnership. Listen, no, for real. And I think, like you mentioned, coming together, doing something like that would be also something that's game changing too. I saw about this syndicating group, this syndication group recently, how they pulled their money together to buy these different spaces. So I'm just like, ooh, can we do that? Like co-working? I mean, what is it? Crowdfunding to buy this shopping center?
We put things together for 2023. We at this time next year we're gonna celebrate and we own X, Y, and Z. We definitely do need to do that.
I like that. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have some more conversations about this. Miss Betty Paul said, got me thinking.
I
Listen.
know. Hey, Betty. I know that. Let me tell you something about Betty. But when Betty started thinking, she's gonna put a plan. She's gonna put a game plan together. I know Miss Betty
Listen.
Paul.
Well, make sure I'm in the number.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm in the number, Miss Betty.
Yeah.
Juan Ron. Hi, Juan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But yeah, so this has been such a great call. Does anybody have any last questions before we hop off of here? But again, don't worry, this will not be the last time that you see us together,
Oh no,
because
we have
we
to
definitely,
talk about.
yeah, we definitely
We
gonna be back.
Yeah, we definitely gonna get an SBA lender on here, so we can see how we can leverage the the SBA money
Mm-hmm.
to get commercial financing. We gonna
Listen,
get a commercial building. We gonna do that.
heard it
That I
here
think.
first.
Yes.
Now, make sure y'all tell somebody, because we're going to post this. Make sure y'all share it and let people know to come back. We're going to actually set a date where we do this weekly to
Okay.
come on and talk about these different topics. We've already talked about commercial real estate, just the overview, but now we're going to hop into the financing, and then we're going to just keep it going from there. So, especially once we start this syndicating group, we're going to start talking about that too.
Listen, we gonna put a plan in place, but a plan that's gonna be in motion, and we're gonna keep it moving, because we definitely want to have more commercial. I want to see more Black commercial agents. I definitely want to see more Black commercial ownership, and especially in the South Florida market, we are the hottest market in the country. Okay, we are the hottest market in the country.
Listen, y'all heard it. So we
yeah.
are going to definitely see y'all back. Make sure you like and follow both pages. If you have any questions, you can always reach out. You already know Tamika is a wealth of knowledge. Okay, wealth of knowledge.
Yes, she is too as well.
But
she is as well.
We'll be around. Definitely, we'll talk to you all next week. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Yeah, have a great one.
Peace.
Bye.